Some of the folks don't make it 6 months. They're like, I don't like this. I don't like the lighting. Once again, I don't like that. My boss isn't quite what he said he or she was going to be. And so I'm leaving. And so then they lose all of that money for finding that particular employee. So the entire experience from the day they join has to be really great to make them stay.
Welcome to the Culmen Group Podcast. I'm your host, Great Moore. We believe the best companies hire the best people. These organizations have the influence to make the world a better place. Our goal is to serve our listeners through our stellar and knowledgeable guests and the topics we cover, such as mental health, employee engagement, leadership, and more in order to enrich the communities we serve. I'm so excited to have Frank Perissi, Xavier, on the show. Francis Xavier on the show. He is a serial entrepreneur that has just got a dynamic resume, and I'm so excited that we met a few weeks ago, actually last week.
Yeah,
I think
at a wine event.
At a wine event.
Yes,
so,
wine and cigars.
Wine and cigars, and I don't think we participated in either, did we?
We did not. We did not. No, sadly enough.
I don't know what
we were just there for the conversation.
We were just there for the cheese. We met at the cheese table.
We did actually.
And that's kind of funny that we met.
Charcuterie board, as they
charcuterie board.
Yeah, there you go.
But thanks for being on the show, Frank. Please tell our listeners a little bit about you, and we will get into the topic of wellness.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I really appreciate you having me here. I love the opportunity to talk about what we do and how we do it, and it's a little bit of a community give back, right? You know, my background with Kettering Executive Network here in Atlanta.
Right.
That great organization with 1,400 people, and it's been around since 2001. I've been very honored to be elected president for 2021.
Okay, congratulations.
So thanks. Yeah, but it's about paying it forward in the community is what that is. And if you start looking at Kettering, you could really see a group of stodgy executives. They're all standing around, don't want to talk to anybody but their own buddies and that type of thing, and that's completely not what it's about. So 170 events a year for Kettering. We have weekly events. We have special interest group events. We also have a great pay it back called Year Up in Atlanta, which is kids 18 to 24 that are looking to try to figure out a better way to get things done in life, right? It could be professionally. It also turns into a personal discussion if they have some needs about relationships or how to get into a business, how to make things work, college, high school, whatever it might be. And we actually won last March, a year ago, Mentor of the Year. Kettering as a whole, because we had 45 of our folks mentoring those kids, right? And so it was really great. And yeah, they are kids at 24, right? So I'm 50. So that's how that works. But so that is Kettering Executive and the Pay It Forward piece. And then my background a little bit is I was that guy who never wanted to be in corporate America because of my dad. You know, Captain America, officer in the military, left that for IBM, put on that blue suit. And he was there for 37 years, right? So I have IBM uncles that knew my dad before me, godparents and things. I mean, it was a family, IBM. I hated that whole IBM corporate thing. So I started, right out of school, I started my own business and was really getting into it, having some good success. A dear buddy of mine called me up and said, hey, you got to join American Express. I've been here for a year. I know you hate corporate America, but you got to give it a shot. And I fought it. My buddies all knew that. So an EVP came down named Bob Gaffoe. Bob and I had dinner for about 4 hours, maybe an offer, and I accepted it. So, and then I started with American Express. We IPO'd less than a year later into First Data Corporation, which a lot of folks in Atlanta know them, of course. That's another big name. Then we had our own little startup back then, really called MoneyGram. And MoneyGram was fantastic, and Western Union was being purchased by First Data, so that was a great ploy. So they own two of the world's biggest money transfer companies in the world. And we had to make a decision which one we were going to dump. And so what was going to happen was MoneyGram was going to IPO. So I went with MoneyGram. And so IPO, and jumped into a wild whirlwind of corporate America. And I haven't left the professional side of that business since. So from there, I went with another group called OPEX Corporation, all things banking, right? So then I stopped and looked at myself and said, wow, not wanting to be like my father, I am. Just like so massive companies and doing some really great things, having some great success too. And then actually I said, you know what, I got to get back into doing some of the startup stuff. So starting my LLCs with Quickie Ad, which was a really cool thing with lottery tickets and putting different advertisements on the back and different lottery pieces. It went really well with several groups, especially with the Indian culture and the casinos they had. They really took to it as well. And then also we had Southern Energy and Water, which was a startup that I created, which is really having to do with the water wars, right? So taking high-end flow meters out of showers. It's usually CD apartment complexes is what it was, with high flow, toilets and shower heads and anything coming out of a sink, and replacing all that and getting those bills down, which also was great for the environment, but also saving a lot of money for those different complexes that were out there. So I really started getting into that world of all things entrepreneurship again, and I loved it, right? So I went back to my roots. So as we move forward through that, I've been part of several things in the print world as well, also in the marketing world. And then, of course, we have Insignis Digital, who you've seen as well, which is an IT sourcing company for e-commerce. And then, of course, my baby here is Recharge Wellness, which I'm CEO of that company.
Okay.
Recharge is really just it's a group of people that came together, past executives at a C-level. Several of them are Kettering folks. Derek Kiongo is the actual chairman of that group. And Derek has done some things with the SOAP project in the past, right? He's got one of these amazing backgrounds. He came from Uganda, right? He's been here for about 20 some odd years, but his background was, the whole running away from that culture and what happened with the dictator that was taking over that country, escaping up here, and he started something called the SOAP project. Okay. And the SOAP project was really taking soap from around the world, from all these hotels that was used, and then having it cleaned and then being able to reuse it in third world countries so the disease doesn't get spread. Wow. Which with the coronavirus right now, that makes a lot of sense.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, if you start listening to all these great doctors that are out there, they're saying soap and water. Forget about all these chemicals, use soap and water. So Derek created that group and from nothing and was able to get it to a place, sold it to another organization that could take it to the next level. And then with talking with Derek, he spoke with the Buckhead Kettering Executive Network series down here in Atlanta, which is very high-end people that come to speak about different topics. We've had Thielen Price right down the street over here, who's robotic surgery with the Da Vinci robot. We've had Jamie Turner, who's an international marketer. We've had Jeff Hazlett, who's the past global CMO for Kodak, and he talked about his journey in the Hero Factor book that he wrote. Some great folks. So Derek was one of those speakers that we had speak at the Kettering Buckhead Club event down the street here. And he and I became fast friends, chatting about what his thoughts were for Recharge Wellness. I'm always have been part of the well-being of our staff, as I've been able to lead several groups through my corporate experience. Right. No texting and driving and that type of initiative and all those different pieces to just simply make staff better and also make our community and our workplace better. Exactly, so this, with Recharge Wellness, is our latest adventure. It's been taken on by really C-level folks in Fortune 100 companies. So changing culture. So North America, right, it's really bad about taking vacation. And this is simply what it's about. We just don't do it. We're scared about losing our job. Somebody's going to be better. Also with the whole millennial factor thing, people don't know what that is really, right? So they're like, this kid's going to show up and take my job who's only making $50,000 a year and I make $400,000 a year, they're going to replace me. Also taking the vacation and then coming back to this, a whole lot of work. And it's just not worth taking that vacation. So you don't do that. And then what it does, it's a great PR piece for all these CEOs say, yeah, we want to say, take your vacation and enjoy it and have a good time. But there's also a dollar figure really that's attached to that as well. So we've got some dynamic folks from Emory Hospital that are on our board as advisors, and they've done a really great job, incredible backgrounds, from MIT and, sad little schools like that, that can show us what it means to have health issues because of stress, right? When you're not innovative because you're not well rested. Right. And that causes some real issue in the workplace. And there's also a dollar figure attached to that. On average, it's about $1,700 per person per year for not being innovative. And about 52% of your staff in any company, they're just simply worn out. Right. And they're tired and they're coming into work and they're not working to live, they live to work. And that's our culture here in the United States, right? And if you look at other cultures, like in Spain, a dear friend of mine who's an UPS executive, he says, we drink more than anybody. We eat more than anybody. We're a little obese, and we like to drink our alcohol. Yeah. We smoke more than anybody. He said, but we are the healthiest people in the world because they take 6 weeks vacation, and they make sure they take that vacation to spend time with their family, make sure that they understand any social give back piece. Because that's one of the things that we talked about. Dr. Tommy, who's on our board, he's one of the doctors at Emory. He's dynamic, incredibly smart, MIT background, came to Emory. He's doing some really great stuff. And he said, why are we so arrogant to say what a vacation needs to be? All right. Why is it like going to the Cayman Islands for 7 days? Because that's typically you take a vacation, 5-7 days. You go down to the Cayman Islands, stay at the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons, and you spend a vacation, and then you come home, and that's your idea of a vacation. Well, that's not the same for everybody. Like my mother's an artist, right? So she loves getting together with her friends in St. Simon's Island, Georgia for 2 weeks and painting and doing nothing fancy, nothing crazy, staying in a little bungalow type place and doing her thing. That's relaxing to her. Here in Atlanta, we have Habitat for Humanity, right? They've been great friends of ours for a long time. A lot of people like to do that for recharging their batteries and getting a vacation. They like to go and actually help build a house, right? And do that type of thing. I was talking to one of their stores up in Athens this morning, and the amount of volunteerism they get over there just from corporate America is insane. They have a very similar store to Goodwill. It's called Restore, and it's how they make some of their money, and people donate items, and it's really high-end items, and they're able to do things. So people want to donate their time to that. That's how they've recharged their batteries. Or people just simply like to finish their MBA. They might need a couple of weeks to go over to Singapore and complete their MBA, or go to travel a little bit and be able to complete their MBA. Right. So it's not being arrogant. And so what we did is we created a platform.
Okay.
And the platform is very simple, where you walk in, we talk to Bank of America, the CBS, JP Morgan, also the Atlanta Aquarium right here is one of the first adapters for Recharge Wellness Program, right? It's a smaller group, but dynamic, awe-inspiring leaders that run that group over there. It's a nonprofit, and they want the best for their staff. And the way they tell you the reason why, it's not because to make profits, not to make better widgets. They're taking care of live things, live animals. And they want to make sure that their staff is well rested and have the ability, because if there's a sick whale, they stay there for 48 hours. They stay there for whatever time it is, and they'll sleep overnight at their work. So adapting this program, and it's a platform/app, right? Because everybody knows app. Okay. So what you do is you have your phone, and the CEO gets on there when you join the company and says, hey, welcome to the Atlanta Aquarium or Georgia Aquarium. And we really, really believe in taking your time off that we've afforded you, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever they get when they join the company. And we truly believe this will help make you a better employee and also make your life better as well. So please take your vacation. And then what it does, it simply sets up 3 different places that you want to go in the world. It's like a wish list. Might be Disney, might be Italy, might be China, might be whatever you want it to be. And you set those different pieces up just to go ahead and say, these are my wish list pieces that I wish to take a vacation with. Then what happens is we have our own travel agency, and we make it easy, right? So you're talking to a live person when you say, hey, I'd like to go to Disney World. That's my idea of a great vacation, and that's what I want to do. They could actually talk to a live person. So it's not the Travelocity or Expedia kind of deal where you just do it yourself and you're done. This gives you a sense, because a lot of people have not taken a vacation, if you can believe that. They haven't flown somewhere. They haven't stayed at a hotel in a foreign place, or they haven't done these things. So we make it very easy and comfortable for you to understand how to take a vacation. We also show you in the app what you've saved so far. So the company will match. It could be 20%, 50%. It could be whatever they wish, but typically it's 20 or 50% is what we're seeing is the company will match whatever they put in the employee every single month. And they'll be able to see their actual balance, and then also see what it will take to go if you want to go to Disney World, or if you want to go to Italy, or if you want to go to New York City, or wherever it might be. It will show you your goals to get to that particular vacation. Also, the company could put in monies for each division to make it exciting. When we're seeing that happen more and more, because companies are trying to figure this out. The biggest problem CEOs have right now is keeping qualified talent at their actual office. They want good, qualified people. Then they want them to be innovative, so they got to be well rested. So they're really thinking that this is a great idea to put this in to give incentives for them to be happy, to take vacation, and understand that the company welcomes them to leave, and understand their job will be here when they get back, and that they're going to have a great time and just be a better employee when they come home. Yeah, that's essentially it.
Thanks so much for the introduction and everything that you guys are doing with Recharge Wellness. But what is it about our mindset in America that we just can't go take a vacation?
It's funny. So I've corporate America background right at the start, but I didn't want it. But I learned a lot. And they also do a lot of great things with spending money on learning who we are, right? So we had this group come in from Rutgers University when I was with OPEX Corporation up in Morristown, New Jersey. They're in every bank in the world. And Rutgers came in, a husband and wife, psychology background, 2 doctorates, and they spent a year with us, traveling around, figuring out who we are, what we are, and all that kind of stuff. Our group over in Europe was part of that. So they came over, and we had this great deal. And they called it the John Wayne effect, which I thought was kind of neat to hear. So my dad was like this, right? And so you kind of take a bit of that, even though baby boomer, Generation X like me, and then you go down the line, you take some of that with you wherever you go. So work your tail off, get the gold watch, and then you're done, right? You could retire, whatever age you could retire, and you're done. But we work 16 hours a day. If we have to work more, we'll work more, right? If we have to spend the night because we're doing something, we'll do that. they are very much, it's a cultural thing. That's why Recharge is a cultural change. That's why we talk to CEOs and chairmen of the board, usually the same, because it has to change the culture of an organization to start making it known that this is not a good thing, that we are the John Wayne effect. Work hard, charge that hill, complete, tackle. It's just not good. So the folks over in Europe with the John Wayne effect, we really got into that discussion, and they're like, well, tell us what you mean. It's like, well, we like to work. We work, and we work very hard. But at 5 o'clock, we're done, and we want to go with our teammates, our colleagues, and we want to go to a pub, in their case, this group. They want to go to a pub and learn more about who you are, who your spouse was, who your kids are, what do you like to do. So once again, it's not that live to work thing. It's quite the opposite, right? They work so that they can really live and have a great life and take vacation and also have friends. And if you look at it, they also spend a lot more years at a company than they do over here in the United States. That's why we're at 2.8. And from what I understand, there's a new study coming out that's actually saying it's less than a year now where people are staying at jobs.
Really?
So my background, when I'm looking to hire people, I was always like, well, God, he's a job hunter. She's a job hunter or hopper. And they like to move around because they're only there for 3 years, 4 years, and they're jumping. Well, what did we just talk about, right? So people are leaving now after a year. And they're deciding that this isn't the right culture. I don't like the stress. I don't like the lighting. I don't like whatever it might be. And they leave. So forget about Georgia being an at-will state. It's quite the opposite now. The employees are like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I want to go try to find something else, so make sure that I'm happy. And it's not about money anymore. It's now about the experience at work. And so that's another thing that we're going to have to try to figure out. It's not about money. It's about the experience you could have at work.
Well, that was something that, or it's certainly something that I talk about is, most companies have client experience, but we need to get to an employee experience.
Yes.
And even companies, and you've probably seen it, they'll even have a client experience officer. They'll have a C-level person that's charged with the client experience.
Yeah. They've changed that a lot. And that's also the cultural change too, right? They'll also have different chaplains and things like that. And so they can go to, and it's not an HR person anymore. That's amazing too. It's no longer, we went from personnel offices from back in the 60s and 70s, and then the 80s we got into this HR thing. Now HR is very important. I don't want to say anything but that. But HR is something where they're trying to make sure that they're compliant with all rules and regulations that the government has set. So CEOs and chairmen of the board see that as, okay, I've got to do that for sure, but we've got to make sure we're not trying to have to hire someone and interview them 4, 5, 6 times, because then we're going to lose them to the guy down the street. Once again, qualified talent getting out the road. So my offices over on the West Coast, that was a need for Facebook, and you got Salesforce.com, you got Google, you got Amazon, you got all these great folks. And their offices are completely different than the typical East Coast offices, right? You got chefs coming in. They don't want you to leave the office. You stay there, you get a 30-minute lunch, but they'll pay for the lunch. They'll have chefs make it for you. They have an experience where it's an open pantry all the time, ping pong and pizza and scooters to drive around. All that stuff is okay, but you got to figure out a way to make sure that their life outside of work is really good too, and that's where we come in. So those pieces, and you'll even see that in some of the presentations that I give publicly, ping pong and pizza are fine, and it really is. I'm not saying get rid of that. I'm saying there's something better, right? And there's something to make sure that you could plan for a vacation, because some of the biggest parts is stress, money. They don't have enough money to take a vacation. Then, of course, the time. So stress, money, and time is a real big issue. So let us help you plan for that. Just like a 401k, how much money are you going to put into it? This is very similar, where we're going to make sure you have money to go on that trip. It could be to Helen, Georgia. It could be within the United States. It could just simply be hike the Appalachian Trail. If you want to do something crazy, we'll talk about that too. But also we're going to be pushing things to make it easy, but also we're going to put packages together with all of our, Delta, Marriott, Hilton, Hertz, all those different folks. We're going to put packages together. And we're also going to understand what you like to do, because you've told us these are your 3 wish list items. So we're going to be showing you how to do that easily and also a lot less cost effective, to make sure that you see that it doesn't have to cost $5,000 to travel abroad, that it could only cost $2,000 if you do it this way. And so we're going to be giving packages to make sure you understand what that is and change the culture, because your boss is now on a video on your phone saying, hey, welcome here. We want you to take a vacation. I'm the CEO and chairman of this company. I think you deserve to take a vacation. And it's also going to help the company, because you're going to come back and be innovative. That's the biggest thing right now.
Huge.
Innovation is where you got to be. You can't just have companies with employees sitting around going, geez, where's the coffee pot? I need something to drink. And oh God, what time is it? It's time to go home yet. People are bringing up ideas, right? People are coming with fresh new things. And it could be anybody up and down the board. We're not talking about C-level executives here. Some of my folks won't even let their director levels and above join this group, right? They want all of the massive staff that's out there to be part of this whole organization. Recharge, the platform, is for everybody, but they truly see this as being something that changed the way that everyday folks that come into the office, and they were going to be able to help them financially with some dollars. And also if their division wins an incentive contest, whether it's a revenue piece or whether it's a project piece that they've completed, they're going to put an extra $1,000, an extra $500 into everybody's account for doing that. So they want to really make it exciting. And that's where we find the benefit, because we didn't come up with those ideas. Our customers did.
Right.
They said, can we do this with the platform? Can we start off with putting $200 in there to get everybody to say, hey, there's $200 free right in this account. We want you to start using this, and we want you to start taking vacation. Yeah. So we knew there was an issue. But when we actually started talking to these incredibly smart C-level people, and so the CEO and chairman is where we're at. But then, of course, who do they bring in? They bring in their CFO. They bring in their president of HR. At Bank of America, that's a massive position, right? You don't just get to walk up and have that conversation with these folks. They bring in, the chief risk officer, and they start having all these different really smart people saying, what if we did this? What if we did that? How can we make it better? So we start gathering this information, and we start making it a part of our presentation, going, wow, these are really smart, innovative ways. And we also realize it is a problem, because as I go through my presentation, everybody in that room, C-level people, and they're all like, skip that, we got that. We completely understand that we're having an issue keeping our talent. How about this next slide? Oh yeah, we understand that if we bring them and hire them, and this is from Dr. Tommy down at Emory, we get them involved. First we have to find them, right? And that could cost anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 plus for a C-level person from a recruiter to find that employee. Then you bring them on board, and if the experience isn't really great, they could leave at any step in the process. So then you're training them, and it could take anywhere from about 6 months till they really get to a place where now they're actually feeding back into the employee pool and making themselves valuable. And that is where they actually start making money back for the company. Some of the folks don't make it 6 months. They're like, I don't like this. I don't like the lighting. Once again, I don't like that. My boss isn't quite what he said he or she was going to be. And so I'm leaving. And so then they lose all of that money for finding that particular employee. So the entire experience from the day they join has to be really great to make them stay. So they're like, skip that. We get that slide too. So they understand the issue that's out there. Now they're just trying to make sure that our platform is everything that we say it is. So when we implement it, it works for them. And they want to customize it a little bit, which is great. And they're doing it actually with some cash, which helps them build the experience for those people to go take vacation so they come back and they can be innovative.
No, I love it. Now, so it's not going to be easy.
No.
I mean, these are enormous companies that you're talking with. How do they, these are folks that probably a lot of the executives grew up doing it the John Wayne way, right?
They did.
So
sure.
Are they ready to change? I mean, personally?
It's yes and no. But most of them, when we walk in, if you're able to talk to these people, these massive companies, they know there's an issue, right? And they want to try to figure it out. So they are looking for something to make this work. And so I've got an incredible staff behind this, right? These people have implemented massive companies. Because you start talking to the companies besides JP Morgan Chase and CBS and Bank of America and some of these massive places, we can implement that size. And you're not going to do it in one full sweep, first of all, right? Because they're international and they're massive. So you're going to start in Atlanta. You're going to start in California, the market, so we can control it, make sure it's rolling out correctly, make sure it's exciting, make sure it's marketed correctly to the current employees that are there. JP Morgan was, we had a meeting with them this week. They hire 40,000 people a month.
Really?
Yeah. And now there's attrition pieces and things like that, people retiring. And when you start talking about that ecoplasm, which is, it's massively huge. Yeah. So there's new people that will be coming on, but the people that are there, they're going to want to be part of this as well, because they're part of that cultural shift to help change the way this is going. So the C-level folks, I'd have to actually say about 75% of them fully get it, fully understand it, and they want to have this implemented. They're just trying to figure out how it's going to fit into their organization, how we can implement something like this. Also, the money side, right? Because CEO guys and ladies that are out there, they have money somewhere. So it might not be 50% match. It might be 20 to start because it's the middle of the year, but then they could plan for the next year. So they want something like this. They just want to make sure it's going to work for their staff. Yeah. That's the only issue that they have. They've got to make sure it's going to be implemented correctly, marketed correctly to the current folks that we have to make sure it's not got some sort of a salesy feel to it. It's truly about making sure their staff is not only the wellness side, but we love the phrase well-being, the well-being of that staff member, right? To make sure that they feel good about what they're doing, make sure the company's on their side. Because granted, there's no more pensions, right? Right. Like my dad had UPS and just, is now no longer offering pensions to their current employees. I think there's something like 5 to 6% of the population of corporations actually offer a pension now. I don't know where those companies are because I'd love to find them, but they're not out there. So these kind of things need to happen to make good employees want to stay. You have to have these programs in place, because if not, for another 50 cents for an hourly employee, they're going to move.
That's right.
For a corporate executive, maybe $100,000, they're going to move. They're going to find some new place. This is not just entry-level people. This is folks all the way up the top and everybody in between. They're going to move down the street for a better opportunity, and you see it. The C-level folks, you hear about it on the news.
Right.
They're moving because they got a better opportunity down the street and they feel like they can do better. Plus, they're getting paid a lot more. So the same thing with the guy who's just walking in the door all the way to the C-level groups. They're all going to make that move unless these kind of things are in place to make the experience better for the staff and their well-being.
Yeah. No, it's just I just have to almost laugh that we're having this conversation. I mean, but I think the timing's perfect, but it's just, who would have ever really thought that we would have to have technology and resources around truly taking vacation?
True. Yeah, that's a different mindset, right, than the house that I grew up in, right? Without cell phones and without technology. And I come from an IBM household, right? So I always got to see the latest, greatest technology that was out there, but it just wasn't there to communicate like we can right now as well. So also what we've done is we've got this piece within the platform. And you're looking at it right there, actually. And so it's just pictures of apps that we have on our cell phones, right, just so that we could present it. And what that is, it's really about that experience piece once again. So we have, it's really an intranet, right? I call it Instagram for your company. It's private. Nobody else can see it outside your company. But what it does, it also gives you that connection that we were talking about before. So when the folks over in the California office can see what the guys in the Atlanta office are doing, and they go, wow, Frank just took a trip to Disney World. Hey, Frank, I have never been to the East Coast, never been to Disney World. Can you tell me what that's like? I'm John from the California office. And it's all safe because it's within your community, right, within your company. You can opt in or opt out of that, too, if you don't want to have everybody seeing what's going on there. That's the first question I get asked by everybody. But it's amazing because even the C-level folks, they want everyone to see what they're doing and have those questions asked, because they do some really great educational trips around the world. And a lot of give back too, right? So they're going to Africa for different things and mission trips, and they're spending a lot of money and resources to help different folks. So they love the company to see that. But you can have that Instagram kind of social media piece internal where you can actually start talking to people you might have never met at a company with 250,000 people in it, and you now have interaction. That also makes you feel a little closer to home and makes you want to stay, right? Because now you know John over there in California and say, hey, John, here's what Disney World's like. Here's what I do. Here's the best hotels to stay in. Hey, I know that Recharge Travel Group set me up with this stuff. I'm sure they'll do it for you. Here's the number for the program that I did. And so it's just a great way to socialize and experience the same thing that another person has experienced within your company.
Right.
So it's just social media internal.
Well, and it's, what I see when I see this is I see some gamification going on, right?
Sure.
So it's kind of like, I see that, someone across, whether it's across the pond or maybe the next city over, they took 2 weeks off.
Sure.
Now, I want to take 2 weeks off. And I can see my funds are there and my vacation's planned. And
sure.
And it becomes a kind of a competition.
It is.
And it's crazy we got to do that, but it's still, it becomes a competition of who's actually taking their time off.
It's knowledge too, right? So the knowledge portion of this is real good. We want you to actually see what you've done, right? So it's kind of like you've seen a lot of apps where you put your pennies in and you're saving for this or your savings account. It's very similar to that, right? You want to be able to do these things, but you don't have any money. You're stressed. You don't have any money. So also when I was trying to get my life together and try to do these great jobs, and I wasn't able to create a whole lot of wealth for my family, my mom and dad, that was their Christmas gift. They'd give us, a couple $1,000, say, we want you guys to take a vacation. We were blessed to have them to do that.
Absolutely.
But a lot of families get those gifts, right? When you're younger, say, hey, here's $500, here's $1,000, go take a vacation this summer and enjoy yourself. You put that money into this account, and that helps grow that too. So when you see that, or if people give you gifts, you're now able just to see your account and see you're that much closer to being able to take that vacation, because a lot of people like to go to Disney World, right? You're young, you have kids, that kind of thing, or you like to go to Helen, Georgia, or you go to New York City for Christmas. That's a great trip. But then you start thinking it's a big world out there, right? We were talking about the World Wide Web and how that works. Now you could start seeing Italy, right? You can start seeing the Great Wall of China. You could start seeing other people that have been there and had great experiences. So why can't I?
Right.
So that's part of the gamification of that. You're right on the money. That we want people to have fun with it.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be a stodgy thing once again, right? Going back to Kettering where you think it's a bunch of executive thing. No, this is fun for everybody.
Right.
You could share it with your husband, your wife. You can share it with your kids. Hey, look, this is what we're doing. These are the places we're going to. And these are the pictures that were taken from an iPhone, right? Or from an Android device. And they're just on your phone from people that have been there already and saw some really cool stuff. And we're going to do that too.
Yeah.
So it's not the marketing stuff from corporation America.
No, and I love the socialization and the I mean, that's one of the things that really helps with changing culture, right? Is the socialization, a little bit of gamification. You see a scoreboard, you're reaching a goal, changes the mindset, and then you get the experience, and it's socialized with everybody.
Yep.
And the competition gets us to that next stage where we understand.
Sure.
Because when the results come back, right? When we have the new idea at the company level, then I think that'll be the start of the ship turning.
It will, and it's going to take time, right? So I already talked about the current folks that are there, and I personally even have open door hours, right? We're all sitting in a conference room, and I'm there to show you how to download the app, right? Because who are we to say everybody knows how to download an app or has flown somewhere or has taken a hotel? A lot of people haven't. I mean, that's the funny thing about it. I talk to my girls who are now 18 and 20. Throughout the years, some families don't ever fly. They've never flown, right? So we want to make it easy. You get to talk to a live person at our travel agency. They will set it up so you feel like if you are going to go across the pond, as you say, you feel safe and confident that there's actually going to be a hotel room waiting there for you when you get there, right? Because it might be the first time you've done that. Same thing with the flight, same thing with anything. We're going to make sure you feel comfortable, make sure you feel at ease, you have your tickets, and you know exactly what's going to happen. So for that to shift with the current employee base, that's why I like having open office hours, right? I did the same thing when I was having an ERP system downloaded from Salesforce.com or NetSuite into our big corporations. You have office hours where people can come and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Here's how this works. Can you help me out with it? So our staff will show up and do that type of thing to make sure it's a successful launch and make sure that people understand how to contact us and understand how to use this new platform, this new app, because it's really very easy. Plus, I love that the CEOs of these companies, he or she, are getting on a video and doing a quick piece where they're saying, hey, thank you for coming on board. We're so happy to have you here. So now, how many times do you get that from, Bank of America or CBS or something where you get a corporate executive thanking you for joining the company and telling you we believe in vacation because of these reasons, because we want you to be happy and also have great well-being, but also it helps us too, makes you a better employee. So we're going to tell you the truth. So let's go do this thing together. Take your vacation time. We think you've earned it, or we wouldn't have given it to you.
No, I love it. Yeah. And there's significant investment. I mean, you outline here that $61,000+
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
For not taking in vacation.
So we're very open about this, right? So this is an incredible PR move for Coca-Cola, for Spanx, for NCR, who's here, all these folks that we're chatting with, and it's a great PR move, right? There's no doubt about it, but there's a financial piece behind it,
right?
And it's not a frankism, as everybody likes to say, right? My staff, it's a frankism. You're not telling me the truth, and actually, it's coming directly from our doctors, who's on our advisory board from Piedmont Hospital and from Emory Hospital. They do studies on this stuff, right? So it's real, and so what it means for a staff member to be worn out. You got folks that have been there, and you still have these folks that have been there, 10, 20, 30 years. And if you got those folks in, it's like that movie Office Space, right? Where you just see these people are just worn out and they got their stapler and they're happy and they'll stay there forever and they're not really productive, right? So that hurts your bottom line and it hurts the company. And right now we can't handle that with corporate America. Corporate America is very shrewd, very tough, and they're very bottom line driven. So this is a great way to not only help their staff, but also help their bottom line, to make these folks feel better about who they are. And it's, once again, not a frankism. It's studies done to show what it means to have a great, innovative employee working for you and your company and also your customers.
Right.
And instead of having, that monotone, hey, it's Frank from IBM.
That's
how you doing? Someone excited to help you out and have some great experience pieces with that will really help your company grow.
I agree 100%. So, Frank, where's the best place for folks to get in touch with you?
Well, our website, Use Recharge, is really a great place to start.
Okay.
You can actually find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm a huge LinkedIn proponent, and so as long as you know how to spell Perissi with Perissi, it's me and a bunch of Italians you'll find on there. So it's me. You'll see me without a doubt. There's a big picture of me, Frank X. Other than that, there's a bunch of really cool Italian names, and more than happy to reach out that way as well. Feel free to shoot me an invitation, and I'd be happy to talk to you. And also, please feel free just to reach out, period. I'm on the KetteringSuccess.org website as well. I'm a vice president with that group, and happy to talk to anybody about what we can do to help.
Excellent. Thanks so much for being on the show, Frank.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing for our culture. It's much needed, and thanks again for your time.
Thanks so much, Greg. Take care.